News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, Kansas, looking at 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Going into tonight, a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms are likely after 11 p.m., with a low sitting around 64. Going into tomorrow, a chance of thunderstorms are likely again before 1 p.m. Mostly cloudy skies with a high near 75, with a chance of precipitation at about 60%. Going into tomorrow night, a low of around 58 degrees. Up next, on News Radio K-Man, The Game.
K-Man Daily Weather is presented by Fox Business Systems. How much does downtime cost you and your business? Don't let another second go by. Call Fox Business Systems at 776-1452.
The following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. It's game time. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
I just got some Alice Cooper Judas Priest tickets. I think that's pretty cool. Corrosion of Conformity is going to open for them. I'm sure a lot of people don't know who they are. I like them a lot. That's a good concert. And if you like rock and roll, you got to see Alice Cooper one time. He's in his 70s. He golfs every day, and he still puts on an incredible show. One of my favorite acts to see live for me all time. And I think he may be headlining. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if Judas Priest might be going on second. Anyway, Intrust Bank Arena, Wichita. Looking forward to that on October 8th. It's like 3 weeks from today. Welcome to The Game. Mitch Fortner, Cole Dutchendorf, Gavin Hyatt with you until 6 o'clock. I'm actually with you until just 5 o'clock, but Tim Everson will be joining Cole. They're going to talk a bunch of Chiefs. And speaking to the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus is joining us at roughly 4:40, 4:45 around that time to talk, like the Cats, how are the Chiefs going to turn it around after an 0-2 start? The first 0-2 start in the Mahomes era. It is K-State Online Day as well. And are the Royals cooked? Are they done? That was a pretty record-setting day yesterday for Cal Raleigh and the Seattle Mariners. Raleigh he hit 2 home runs last night, the big dumper. The first home run past Mickey Mantle for the most home runs by a switch hitter in MLB history. That was a record set in 1961. It had been a minute since somebody had done that kind of numbers with switch hitting. And then his second home run tied Ken Griffey Jr. for the most home runs in Seattle Mariners history, which Ken Griffey Jr. set that back in 1997 and 1998. We're set to have Drew Galloway on from K-State Online. It looks like we're having a few technical difficulties right now, trying to get all that stuff sorted out. He's good to go. Oh, he's good to go. All right, great. Well, let's get right to it, folks. Let's talk some Cats with Drew, but let me do my gimmick here. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. AEW Dynamite, September to Remember, 3-hour extravaganza is tonight from London, Ontario, Canada's Canada Life Place. I think it's the first I've ever heard of an arena being called Place in the name. But it's a 3-hour special. It's the go-home episode. What that means, it's the last episode heading into a pay-per-view. That pay-per-view is All Out Toronto on Saturday, going head-to-head with a lot of college football and WWE's first pay-per-view with ESPN. But I'm going to do my best to watch AEW, watch college football with the Cats not playing this weekend. It's a bye. They're back on September 27th in 10 days to take on UCF. Drew Galloway is our guest this week from K-State Online. Drew, did you happen to catch up with Mason and DY in the trip to Tucson on Friday?
I actually did not. I thought about it, but sometimes it's kind of like, is this really worth it to go? And after how they started, I decided it's better to just sit back and watch.
Let me ask you this way then. Let's say the Army result was still the Army result, but K-State stomps North Dakota. Does that change your mind? Or is it the Army one that really swayed you on going or not?
If they would have come out and stomped North Dakota and maybe even like played a little bit better and lost Army, like I would have been more inclined. But you it's really just the culmination of everything that makes it kind of the way that it was.
How's the college football buzz right now in Georgia? Because I mean, of course, the Bulldogs just went to Knoxville and won in overtime, and Georgia Tech knocked off Clemson. You might be in the happiest state for college football right now.
Yeah, everybody is like sky high here, and like a lot of people that I have kind of gotten close with just kind of feel bad for me. Like, this past week, it wasn't just Georgia Tech beating Clemson, Georgia beating Tennessee, and the thriller that in Knoxville. Every single college in the state of Georgia and the Falcons all won this past weekend. So to kind of like go from that and then have Friday night go the way that it did, it was quite the turn of events. From like feeling pretty down on Friday to then Georgia wins, and Georgia Tech starts the day off with winning in a close fashion, and then seeing Georgia win. So it was just a pretty crazy like Friday, Saturday, and then the Falcons winning, and then the Braves also won like Saturday, Sunday. So like it was a crazy just like weekend, and everybody's feeling really good and buzzing. I mean, you don't see a lot of Georgia Tech fans around where we live, but a lot of Georgia, and there was a lot of hype going into the Georgia-Tennessee game, and then them winning. Everybody's riding a high.
Yeah, a lot of good dogs in your area. That was a 9 a.m. That was a 9 p.m. kickoff for you on this past Friday. Are you watching the game with other people?
I am like the worst person to watch a game with. I have to be like dialed in by myself. My wife watches it with me, but like there are also points where she will go and like do her own thing, especially with the last few games when it's been getting closer near the end and it's like a high stress situation. So I'm kind of like the worst person to watch a game with. I also hate watch parties. When we did KSO Classic, I can't remember, I think it was the O2 Holiday Bowl. I remember watching that game when I was like 4 or 5 years old at a watch party. And the first like 10 minutes of the video, Mason and I just talked about how much we hate watch parties. I have to be like locked in and really like, I like to hear the announcers and kind of hear what they're saying about the game. So I have to be like dialed in during a football game. Other games like I can watch and kind of have that be like on in the background with a bunch of people, and even like Chiefs games, like I can watch that with people, but like a K-State game, like I have to be like really dialed in for.
I'm almost kind of happy Mason actually, he has a work buddy that kind of feels the same way about those kind of gatherings, especially since that can actually be kind of a big part of your job depending on where you're at or what you're doing. Were you a part of the crew when we went to the Sugar Bowl?
Yes.
So, I mean, Mason still complains about New Orleans, Bourbon Street. He had only been to the hotel, Bourbon Street, and the Superdome. So was that not your jam either?
I went to Bourbon Street 2 nights and hated it both nights. And then wasn't really like a huge fan of the Superdome. Like big crowds and we used to get along very well for like probably until I got to like high school. And then as I got older, I got like a lot more reserved and wanting to like just do things on my own. So I can't watch like big events with a big number of people.
I've been asking guests, so since you watched at home and you like to watch by yourself, I don't know how much you yell at the TV, but what was maybe the play that still stands out in your mind that got the most reaction out of you this past Friday?
This past Friday, I don't blame him for the play, because I think that he is one that I think just truly cares so much that he's really pressing. But the Sterling Lockett muffed punt, I think, was the one that got the most reaction out of me watching it, because I think the words that I said was like, of course, there's going to be a special teams turnover in the middle of all this too.
Yeah, that was kind of a messy special teams game. Really more for Arizona because they muffed a punt, missed 3 field goals. I thought you were teeing that up to say Avery, because I kind of feel like Avery's pressing with the downfield throws in double coverage, not accounting for the safety type of thing, not running on the third down play. But that's maybe another play that probably got you all up in arms because he didn't run it when he had open spaces.
Yeah, that was another one. One was also like right after Arizona muffed the punt, and K-State dropped back, and I don't think a single person blocked, and Avery got sacked, which ended up leading to the Luis Rodriguez field goal. And then I think the other honorable mention that I have that was like got a pretty good reaction out of me was right after Garrett Harstead blocks the punt and K-State run that loses 4 yards. I was like, oh my! Like they made that so much harder than it needed to be after the blocked punt.
Yeah, a lot of going backwards on offense. A lot in that game. That was a team that, if it wasn't for that 3rd and 17 conversion on third down that set up the second touchdown, K-State would have had negative yardage total for the night on third down plays. So I guess at least they had that one. Let me ask you this, because you do such an amazing job with KSO covering the recruiting for football and basketball. I'll basically go another direction in asking, could this be a talent issue for K-State? Based on, the recruiting, K-State went pretty deep in the transfer portal, got a bunch of guys. Of course, K-State has a few that are banged up, but would you say K-State missed on some guys or maybe didn't get the talent that they thought they had, kind of in reference to what Chris Kleiman said on Friday night?
I think that there's a little bit of maybe missing on some guys talent-wise, might have missed on, and this is something that Mason and I have talked about a lot about in our videos recently, is like maybe you didn't miss talent-wise, but maybe you missed mentality-wise. Like, this team doesn't really have like a stone cold killer that is always amped up, always ready to go for a game. Like it takes them like something going well happening. And like Trace Spivey actually hit it on the head leading into the K-State Arizona game. Like it's not just an offensive thing. Like that is a defensive thing too, that they don't really start well. And they need to like settle in and have some things go their way, and then they have a lot of energy. So like sometimes you might have missed with just the mentality of the players that you thought that you were going to get, or you're not bringing it out of them. But I mean, I also think that like the coaches aren't blameless in this either, because I think that there is a lot of talent on this team still. You're having what is likely going to be the best wide receiver performance for a K-State wideout since 2014 with how Jace Brown is playing. Avery still has all the talent in the world. It just hasn't been unlocked in these first 4 games. You've seen like bits and pieces of it, but it hasn't all came together. I think that this offensive line is talented. I think that I don't know if it's cohesion. I don't know if it's you're just missing and there isn't a lot of talent, and so you just missed there. The defensive ends and D tackles, I think that they have a lot of potential, but you're just not seeing it. I think that everybody is kind of at fault for what has happened over these first 4 weeks.
Do you think K-State may miss a type of personality like Connor Riley, the one coach that isn't afraid to raise his voice in a firm way, be tough but fair, to criticize the players and call out some issues and just be tough with the guys?
That is something that has kind of crossed my mind lately, is like, do they miss Connor Riley's voice? Because if you aren't playing well, Connor Riley would always let you hear it. Yeah, but he would also be right there and be your biggest cheerleader when you did something well. So you might be missing something like that, because they don't have a lot of guys that on the coaching staff that really raise their voice. Mike Tuiasosopo does it. Buddy Wyatt does it every once in a while. Steve Sander does it every once in a while. But like Connor Riley would let you know. And I think that in some way you kind of do miss that, because at some point you need something to kind of wake you up like that. Because right now, whatever is going on, and this is where like you also you need a player to step in and kind of be that person that isn't afraid to get in everybody's face when things aren't going well too. So it's kind of like a twofold thing where, like, I think they are missing Connor Riley's presence, but I also think that you're just missing that from just a personality standpoint for a player.
Drew Galloway from KSO, our guest, will take a timeout. He'll join us for one more segment. Do want to catch up a little bit on some K-State football recruiting, what's been going on lately in that area. Plus, thoughts on the UCF game, even though we're still a week and a half out. And could we maybe see a wholesale change on defense? We'll get the thoughts from Drew when we come back as you're listening to The Game.
Miss any of the show? Check out The Game podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and of course, NewsRadioKMAN.com. You're listening to The Game on News Radio KMAN.
In Manhattan, building community means more than bricks and beams. It means innovation and partnership. At McCown Gordon Construction, we deliver feature-focused solutions to projects that shape our region. From advanced research labs to vibrant education, healthcare, and community hubs. We're not just building projects, we're building the future of the Flint Hills with unmatched customer experience and value-driven strategies. We're building for tomorrow. Visit kansas.mccown-gordon.com.
Are you prepared for the future? Ensuring your legacy and protecting your loved ones start with estate planning from Adair Law. From wills to trust to powers of attorney, the team at Adair Law will create a personalized plan that reflects your wishes and secures your assets for generations to come. Thinking about the future isn't always easy, but planning your estate can be. With Adair Law, you can protect what matters most, your family and your legacy. Don't leave their future to chance. Secure your peace of mind today with Adair Law. Protecting clients with compassion is what they do. Call 785-776-2000 today.
I'm Brad Jones, owner at Home of the Flint Hills, where every day is designed with you in mind. We offer a warm, secure, and inspiring home for seniors where independence is honored and your choices always comes first. Experience beautiful, private residences filled with luxurious amenities and a dedicated team of compassionate caregivers. At Home of the Flint Hills, we're more than just a senior living community. We're a place where you're respected, empowered, and free to live life your way. Enjoy the comfort of staying in one place as your needs grow. That's true age-in-place living. Visit homeoftheflinthills.com to schedule your tour today.
From our kitchen right to your heart, nothing beats a visit to our bakery at the Friendship House. I'm Jake Trumer, head chef at the Friendship House, ready to introduce you to our amazing expanded bakery selections and new rotating monthly specials. More options for cookies and kolaches, more of the famous Friendship House cinnamon, pecan, and peanut butter rolls, and the kind of mouthwatering pies that will keep everyone coming back for dessert. The only thing better than a great bakery is even more of it. Stop by for breakfast or lunch and take home some of that no place like homemade magic from the Friendship House, just off the Yellow Brick Road by City Park in downtown Wamego.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event!
Promises to one's community.
Helping people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Families affected by disasters urgently need support. Help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to those affected by disasters, big and small. Donate to Red Cross Disaster Relief. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Speedy Chiefs receiver Xavier Worthy, recovering from a dislocated right shoulder, took another positive step Wednesday to returning for Sunday night's game against the New York Giants, according to ESPN's Nate Taylor. Worthy, who suffered the injury in the season opener, participated in Wednesday's practice without any restriction, Coach Andy Reid said. Unlike last week, Worthy was seen running routes during the open portion of practice without extra padding on his right arm. Colorado will turn back in Caden Salter as their starting quarterback this week against Wyoming, a source confirmed to ESPN. Salter started the first 2 games, but the team switched to Ryan Staub for the 36-20 loss to Houston on Friday. Cal Raleigh hit a pair of homers to match a Seattle season record set by Ken Griffey Jr. Dominic Canzone belted a career-best 3 homers on his own, and the AL West leading Mariners routed the fading Kansas City Royals 12-5 on Tuesday night for their 10th consecutive win. Carter Jansen hit the first 2 homers of his big league career for Kansas City. It looked as if he had a third before his long fly ball in the 8th inning bounced off the right wall for a double. The Royals are now just about eliminated from the postseason, now 75-76 on the season, now 7 games back in the wild card with 11 games to go. It was a 10th multi-homer game this season for the Big Dumper and the 20th of Raleigh's career. Game 2 of the series starts tonight, first pitch at 6:40, pregame 6 p.m. on KMAN.
Man, the Big Dumper, just the best nickname in sports right now. Big night for him last night. Unfortunately, it was against the Royals, but the Royals will try to dig themselves out of a grave with 6 o'clock pregame, 6:40 first pitch tonight from the K against the Seattle Mariners, the first place team in the AL West. Meanwhile, today is Patrick Mahomes' 30th birthday, and he's opening up that 1587 with Travis Kelce. 1587 Prime, that Michelin, I don't know what to call it. Michelin. It's not like officially a Michelin star, but it's like that kind of quality. It's real ritzy. Back with Drew Galloway from K-Cent Online. Drew, I saw online the cheapest cocktail at Mahomes and Kelsey's restaurant is $42. Would you go for a $42 beverage?
Absolutely not. I feel weird spending more than $30 at a restaurant on a meal. So unless it was being paid for by someone or for something, that $42 just for a cocktail is crazy.
When you go out with the KSO boys, who's picking up the check? Is DY grabbing it every time? Or you guys splitting it? How does that work?
DY, great boss. Every time we go out, always picks up the check for us.
Attaboy. That's a good move. I do too, on the company card. I don't know if DY's using a company card. Go ahead.
That's the other way to do it. Just use the company card.
Let's get back to the Cats here. I was going to use this question on Power Cat Game Day this past Friday, but I took it off. I figured maybe I could use this for the UCF game, and I put another question on. I haven't brought this up to anybody yet, but I thought this would be a good question for you. Maybe also at the time I felt like it was a little unfair, but now I think it is fair. It could be Connor Riley, it could be any player. Who does K-State, maybe specifically the fans, who do you think you and the fans miss the most from last year's team? It can be any filters you want to put on this. Who do you think has just missed the most?
Oh, this is a great question. I think the player that might be missed the most, because obviously coaching wise it would be Connor Riley, but the player that I think is missed the most, I have one on offense, one on defense. Offensively, I actually think that it's Carver Willis. Right tackle and really right guard and left guard are all really, really bad right now for K-State. Having Carver Willis, although Carver Willis wasn't great last year, he was at least playing better than anybody that they've tried at right tackle right now. So I would say him. And then on defense, I think I'd go Austin Moore from a leadership standpoint. I just think that this team is really lacking like the rah leader, and not just the leader that does everything by example. And Austin Moore was a guy that would get in people's faces when they weren't playing well. So I think that it's probably those two, but for completely different reasons, just because you've had nothing go well at right tackle. The linebackers, I think, have actually been pretty solid, but I just think that you really miss like Austin Moore's leadership and how much that he cares for K-State, because you don't really get the vibe right now that anybody really truly cares outside of like a handful of people. And like that has been like the biggest issue overarching of the entire season for me.
You know what? Speaking of the defense, a lot of former players have been speaking out about this start on different shows, and also on yesterday's show here. Zach Nemechek, who's a host on PowerCat Game Day, said this very thing, and I'll ask you the question, because I know you definitely know your X's and O's. You probably know more than I do, especially with how a back end would react to a 4-2-5 compared to other defenses. But what do you think about a wholesale change and K-State with a lot of returning players? There'd be some familiarity here going back to a 3-3 defense.
I don't necessarily think that it would be a bad thing. I think that a lot of what you're seeing defensively is guys who are guessing and aren't playing nearly as fast as they should. Like VJ Payne comes to mind as a guy that looks like he is thinking way too much and not just reacting and going. Do you have the linebackers to do this? And with this team, maybe. Like, this is where also, like, the defensive line has had moments, and they even had moments where they were pretty good against Arizona, but they just haven't been consistent enough, I think, to really warrant the 4 down. And I do wonder how much K-State really regrets going from the 3-3-5 to the 4-2-5 this season, because you're not getting a pass rush if you're not blitzing still. You're not really doing anything well on defense, to the point where, like, I mean, I remember I was on this show the week before the game in Ireland. You asked me, what is like a sure bet for K-State this season? And I said, because they have since 2019, I anticipate K-State being really, really good against the run. They are horrible right now against the run. It's running quarterbacks, it's running backs, it's everything. They aren't stopping the run very well. And when you're not doing that and you're in the 4 down, like, why not flip it back to the 3-3-5? Because you're not really, and you don't have a ton of depth at D tackle right now, because you've had injuries there. And Damian Alalio and Uso have both been playing so much. Why not flip it back? And then you're just playing one of them, and maybe something clicks and the guys play a little bit faster. But I don't think that it's necessarily like a bad thing if they were to flip it back to the 3-3-5, because the 4-2-5 has almost been as bad as the defense has been since 2020.
Zach mentioned kind of the same thing about the defensive tackles, because you're playing 2, not every down, but quite a bit, Uso and Damian, and those guys are getting worn down, and it's affecting the play of the defensive line. Throwing the extra linebacker, playing that will, would you feel good about Gabe Powers and a Rex Van Wy to take over that position? You're basically taking the nickel off the field?
Yeah, I think that I'd feel like okay if you had Gabe Powers or Rex Van Wy on the field. But yeah, like it really would be something of like saving the D tackles, because there's too many points where either Damian or Uso is wearing down and they're getting washed away, or they've experimented a little bit with playing Cody Stuffle being inside, but he's playing a lot of snaps right now. That is like the biggest problem, is that they can't get off the field. and maybe you get off the field more in the 3-3-5 because everybody's more used to it. So you can like have moments where guys are more fresh. Like K-State is getting out snapped in the last 2 games by 70 snaps combined.
Mm-hmm.
So like that is more of a problem just on its own. So maybe you figure it out when you go to the 3-3-5 and you can get off the field on defense. But right now, until proven otherwise, I think that it might be a mistake that they went to the 4 down, because I just don't think that they were as good on the interior of the defensive line as maybe they hoped, or, and some of this is kind of out of their control, that, they've been a little bit more dinged up, I think, on the interior of the defensive line than they anticipated. And that kind of goes back to maybe you could have waited or brought in some other experienced D tackles to have kind of waiting in the wings.
I was doing a little research, and I just got on FanDuel to see where the Big 12 championship odds are now. K-State is plus 6,000 to win the Big 12. Could I get you to put $20 down on that?
No, I don't think that you could. Until I see more like effort and more wanting to be there and really caring, it gets really bleak on trying to find any wins going forward. And that's what sucks. And like, that's what, when Mason and I have talked about how this season has gone, it really is that, like, if you just showed up and you cared, you don't have to win at the end against North Dakota. You probably aren't in that situation against Army, because at some point, like, sheer will should get you a stop on defense, but it wasn't. And I think that K-State is way more talented than Arizona is, top to bottom. So again, that's another one where, like, if you just had more energy and showed more care, that you probably can win that game too. So like, until I see that on a more consistent basis on the sideline and really just body language period, it is hard for me to really get there and even like get to saying that they could even make a bowl game.
All right, Drew, real quick. I know we're going a little overtime here, but if you don't mind, hit us with a few highlights about just what's been going on lately with K-State football recruiting.
Yeah, you're going to see probably more targets emerge in the next few weeks. A lot of guys that are like more flip targets than guys that are like still out there uncommitted. Yeah, and that's just kind of the territory when you get into the fall, that it's more towards guys that are committed other places that you're starting to build a relationship with and get to the point where you could flip. You're also, and this is just more like big picture stuff, you're seeing more 2027s, more 2028s coming on visits. That also just kind of comes with the territory. If you're not recruiting ahead, then you're behind everybody else. And I will say, we did a recruiting show today on the KSO show on our YouTube page. Recruiting right now matters more than it did before, because the one way that you can really dig this out and get this better is by recruiting better and by bringing in guys that either fit what you want to do, fit the mentality, are more talented than somebody else. Like, that is how you really fix it and get better. So like when we're talking about recruiting, like, that is why, because there's no free agency in college football in the regular season, or like trades that can happen. The one thing that you can do to get better for next year is to just flat out recruit better or figure something out along that standpoint. So that's why I think that it just matters more now than it did probably 3 or 4 months ago even.
Well, folks, you know where you go to get your K-State recruiting coverage. Go subscribe to K-State Online and check out the KSO show on YouTube. Drew, great conversation. I really appreciate it. We'll catch up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thank you.
Drew Galloway from KSO. When we come back, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Is he tanner than what he was before week 1 after going to Brazil? I just picture the beaches and it warmer and things like that. But we'll catch up with Mitch after a timeout on the game.
Your home for K-State sports.
Willie the Wildcat in a big win. Go Kansas State! Lane Corso says Big Red is dead.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Blueville Nursery's Horticulture Hints radio show comes to your radio every Friday morning at 10 a.m. We will discuss timely gardening and landscape topics to help you keep your lawn and garden in tip-top shape. Blueville Nursery has been your local landscape service and garden store for over 50 years, and we want to share our time-tested techniques with you. From vegetable gardening, spring and summer annuals, to shade trees and lawn care, we'll cover it all. You're welcome to call into the show to ask questions that apply to your own landscape or garden. Stay tuned to Blueville Nursery's Horticulture Hints radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. right here on News Radio KMAN.
At Stormont Vale Health, high-quality care is right around the corner.
Stormont Vale is more than just a health system. We're your neighbors, dedicated to supporting the well-being of our community and the Flint Hills region. With our strong partnerships, including collaborations with the Mayo Clinic Care Network, other healthcare providers, and various community organizations, we're committed to offering personalized, high-quality care when and where you need it most.
Stormont Vale Health, high-quality care closer to home.
It wasn't long ago that air conditioning wasn't a standard luxury item found in businesses and homes. Can you imagine life without it now? The heating and air industry has changed through the years, but one company has remained constant since 1981. For over 40 years, M&S Plumbing has kept Manhattan and the surrounding communities cool. M&S repairs all brands and offers 24-hour emergency service. So if your AC needs serviced, call on a name you can trust.
Call the experts who care. M&S Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
The Trust Company is an independent, locally owned wealth management and investment company founded right here in Manhattan in 1992. The experienced professionals at the Trust Company are recruited specifically for their financial, legal, accounting, and business expertise. They're also your neighbors who, guided by your hopes and dreams, will continue to deeply understand your aspirations and goals. The Trust Company, locally owned, client-focused. Our only allegiance is to you. Visit thetrustco.com.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this. I mean, what parent isn't worried about? What am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's given me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived in Philadelphia. Local time is 3:05 p.m. and the temperature is 67 degrees. At this time, you are now free to use your cellular devices.
You know that feeling when you get to turn your phone on after the plane lands? You can have that feeling every time you drive. Make sure your cell phone is stowed away whenever you are behind the wheel.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
For area high school scores, recaps, league standings, and coach interviews, check out Scoreboard Saturday at 8 a.m. during football and basketball season, including coverage of the Centennial League, NCKL, Big East League, Flint Hills League, and the Twin Valley League. Scoreboard Saturday on News Radio KMAN is powered by WTC Communications.
News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, mostly sunny skies, 79 degrees, wind at 6 miles per hour. 20% chance of showers as we head into the evening. That turns into a 50% chance overnight, mainly after 11 p.m. with a slight chance of thunderstorms and an overnight low of 64. 60% chance of showers tomorrow, mainly before 1 p.m., but also a chance after 4 in the afternoon as well, on high near 75. Another 30% chance of rain Thursday, sunny and a high near 79 on Friday.
Wonder what the scene is like outside of 1587 Prime right now. Like, my expectations would be it's just a madhouse. There's going to be celebrities there tonight. Taylor Swift. She's got to be there tonight, right? The big debut of the restaurant, 1587, sipping on some $42 drinks, ordering a $220 steak. I don't know how much the steak is. I couldn't find a full menu. They don't have that on their website yet, but listen here. Those dudes are booked solid through November. Booked solid. Steaks. I don't know if I think they have some sort of seafood. They have the twice baked potatoes, the ketchup flight. I hope they're stocked up because they're booked solid for months. We're now joined by the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. Mitch, do you have your reservation at 1587 yet?
No, just Hy-Vee Manhattan.
For sure.
That's all. I thought you were listing the menu at Hy-Vee in Manhattan. So, no, I think 2029 is when I could get in. So, we're waiting for that, and hopefully we can, hopefully the Earth is still here then.
Well, how was Brazil?
Brutal. You don't even want to know. It's, you asked, but it was rough. That game's clunky. They gotta figure that one out. The league has got to figure it out. I'll just quickly go through it. It'll sound like an excuse, but it's very similar to the Cats opening week in Ireland, except I don't know how long it took you to get there. But we were on the tarmac for whatever reason before we left with the guys on the plane for 2.5 hours prior to a 10.5-hour flight. So do the math. Now we're at what, 13 maybe or 12, and then we lose 2 hours. And then Sao Paulo is the fourth largest city in the world. I don't think we know that. It tells Los Angeles, hold my beer. So it's over an hour to get through customs with 200 people, and then it was maybe close to a 2-hour drive across town. We got in the practice facility at 5:30 a.m. on Wednesday and got to the hotel at 1:30 a.m. on Thursday. It was rough. So then that threw Thursday off a bit, but then we were a good hour and 45 minutes from the hotel on game day. We'd be like driving from Manhattan to Arrowhead, but doing so in stop and go traffic, while the Chargers had a hotel nice and cozy by Arena Corinthians. It sounds like excuses. It's not an excuse, but you asked. This is you and I running a 100-meter dash at KSU Stadium, except they're going to run me out to the Riley County Fair and put me on the tilt-a-whirl for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to run against you. That's what it felt like. And so could have won it, didn't, and then really should have, could have won last week.
The Dublin flight was 8 hours. We were stuck on the runway for about 20 minutes because of some air traffic control issue in Toronto, and believe me, that got enough groans because we had to wait in the airport for about 4 hours. That was the only delays we had.
Well, it was, when we could sit and complain about it, but it wasn't. The Brazil game's clunky. It is not Germany. It's not England. Brazil wants the game, and they got to figure it out. It's more than just going down there and having a good time.
Do you feel like the Chiefs are close or got closer against Philadelphia compared to the Chargers game?
Week 1 felt like 0-1. Week 2 did not feel like 0-2, and I know that sounds ridiculous because we've only been 0-2 once under Coach Reed. But the Eagles game, there was a yes. To answer your question, yes. And I don't think, as I reviewed the video, that's just being hopeful, or I hope that's the case. And so when you look offensively is where most of the issues are. Defensively, they took a meteoric leap last week, going from week 1 to week 2, and really held. I mean, you hold the Eagles to their lowest output since week 6 of 2021, and Hurts to 9 carries on 16 yards, and the longest run Barkley had was 13. You're going to win. But it was a missed 59-yard field goal, short field, missed 4th and 1 at the 36, your own field goal, and then the 14-point swing on what should have been a touchdown, which ended up being a touchdown for the Eagles. It's just that much. You play a good team in the NFL, you're not going to win. But it was close. It's getting closer, and hopefully it gets really close on Sunday night.
A lot of complaints about the tush push after that game. Do you feel like it should be allowed in football, or should it be banned?
Well, here's what I want, whether it's banned or not. Here's what I want. Okay, think about a game. If you go to Bramlage and basketball officials work a game, or Manhattan High or Riley County or Rock Creek, doesn't matter. Blue Valley Rams. When you have 3 officials that work a game in basketball, you have a trail official, a lead official, and a C official who's on the side. But they move to where the ball is at. If you're going to have a tush-push, I have no idea why the linesman and the down judge stay where they are at the sideline. There's no reason. And they cannot see. That's 27 yards where they cannot see if a player's jumping. And the umpire and the referee can't see it. They're behind the play. The linesman or the down judge has to see it. If you're going to allow the play, then what you have to do is tell the line judge and the down judge they get to go as close as the numbers or even closer unless a player lines up outside of you and you motion and then you move. Basketball officials do it. But there's no way the line judge or down judge can see what's going on the tush-push play. They can't. And you have to see it from the side. You can't see it from the front or the back. There's no way to tell it. So if you're going to allow it, then you've got to tell those officials they're going to be running in outside the tackle or close to it to make it, and then be ready to move if the play comes your way and you got to get out of the way or backpedal. But don't stand 27 yards away and act like you know what's going on.
Mitch, my question is specifically for some of the younger guys in the locker room. They don't really know what losing looks like in the NFL. I mean, last year, the Chiefs lost 2 games in which they were actively trying to win. Then they won the Super Bowl the previous 2 years before that. What's the vibe like just for the locker room in general right now?
I would say it's really good. That's one thing you don't have to worry about with this team. One is the approach that Andy Reid has. We forget, you guys, that I could go through the 12 previous years. We forget we were 9-6 in 2023. We were 3-4 in 2021. We were 6-4 in 2019. 2 of those 3 years we won Super Bowls. We lost 5 out of 6 one year. We lost 6 out of 7 another year. You always have flashpoints. And this is where I think K-State, and they get the bye week to try to get things fixed here, to go play the game they did in Ireland, and that was clunky. And then I thought they'd have a bye the next week. They didn't. You're just not going to play good in that game, sorry. And then you got to play Army. And you don't fix things against Army. And then you go on the road for a short week at Arizona. Now you've got a chance back up. All right, 1-3, back up. And try to figure stuff out in this bye week and then attack it. Well, if you've got the right mindset from the head coach, which I believe in Coach Kleiman, I believe in Coach Reid, but then you've got Patrick Mahomes who's leading the way. There is zero feeling of, oh my gosh, this is over, we can't do it again, or what's wrong with us, or what's wrong with you because I'm doing my job. There is none of that. The culture gets challenged in these deals, in this situation, but you get flashpoints. They can happen early, they can happen middle, they can happen late. And in my brief 32 years in the league, I've seen it happen in all 3 occasions.
You know, a lot has been made about the Travis Kelce 2 weeks into the season, and there's no question it was not the greatest drop in the red zone, but I think he looks, just from the eye test, a lot better than he did last year. Am I incorrect for thinking that, do you think?
No, he worked hard. Remember, I had him on during training camp with one of your reports, and he talked about strategic planning. It's a matter of him just locking in to be consistent, because especially if you don't have Worthy or Jalen Royals, and especially Rashee Rice, then he has got to be on his game at every point. And the play at the goal line was not good. I'm sure he wishes he had it back. He wants the play back where he runs into Xavier and knocks him out. He runs his route at the wrong depth. So it's just a matter of, until we get all the troops, dude, you have got to give us all you got and get after it this week. But that room also has to help. Now, Noah Gray was open, and Pat missed him. Pat admitted it. But Noah Gray's got to get open more than just those couple of plays. Same thing with Tunyon. I think Tunyon's still got some big plays in it. But nobody's freaking out. We just got to go out there and win a game. And here's your stat of the night. The Chiefs have never beaten the Giants on the road. It's the only team in franchise history the Chiefs have never beaten on the road. And so you get something done this week if you beat these guys, and go ahead and get it. And just like K-State trying to get things fixed, get ready for UCF, win this game, figure it out, and then come home and get the Ravens on another, big time game on a big stage. But just go, man, and keep grinding. But that's the way the coach and the quarterback are.
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see how Cam Skattebo does against the Chiefs defense. I think that's a fascinating matchup.
It's a fascinating matchup. He had 3 broken tackles in 2 weeks. He's second in the NFL. Now, I don't have to tell K-State people about Cam Skattebo. Yeah. He would take games over last year. It wasn't just K-State. It's like, my game, my ball, you can't stop me. He's still got that in him. They're trying to they're trying to keep some other guys happy. Skattebo's not the only guy they got. In fact, you look at Tracy, their second-year player out of Purdue, who had a big year last year in his rookie year. In fact, here's another nugget of the night. Tracy, last year with Malik Neighbors, who's probably the best player on their team, and they have Devin Singletary, remember, from the Bills on this team. But Tracy and Malik Neighbors both had over 1,100 yards all-purpose. Only 3 times have rookies done that. One was the New Orleans Saints with Reggie Bush and Marcus Golston, and the other one was the 1960 Dallas Texans with Abner Haynes, and Johnny Robinson, who was playing offense then. So it's not just Skattebo, but he is a problem, and he will continue to be a problem as his career grows. I like him very much as a player. I don't like to play against him.
Mitch, real quick, do you remember what you did for your 30th birthday?
Oh, yeah. I got surprised by my wife, who invited the basketball staff that included Lon Kruger. Yeah, we're going way back, blow the dust off of it. And so it was a very K-State-y 30th birthday. It's a good time, actually, but I thought it was going to be me and my wife, like a romantic evening. I'm all fired up, and all of a sudden these clowns show up there to the basketball staff, and I'm like, okay, guess that ain't going to happen. So it was plus minus.
Mitch, really appreciate it. We'll catch up in a couple of weeks. Thank you for your time.
That didn't even move the needle on you, Mitch. That didn't move the needle on you.
The Lon Kruger thing?
Well, I was thinking it was going to be a romantic night for my 30th birthday, right?
I was laughing behind the scenes, Mitch. Don't worry.
It didn't phase Mitch. He's thinking about the break, so he wasn't paying attention. So, yeah, anyway, yeah. Plus minus, dude. Plus minus. You know how it goes.
Now, Brad Underwood was there. Then there's a story.
Yeah, Hugs, Underwood. We invited Frank. If we had all the coaches of K-State basketball and put them in a room, what a night that would be. Imagine Bruce Weber playing pitch with Frank Martin. That'd be fun.
Pitch. 10-point?
Oh, yeah. So that's too easy of a game, though. You need like 7-point or 5-point. Yeah.
Seems more like a Texas Hold'em crew to me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, Mitch, I can't stop thinking about this break.
Okay, think about the break and stay focused because you're drifting somewhere.
All right, Mitch, appreciate it. Thank you.
It was. See you.
Voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. Let's take our time out. That's going to wrap up hour number 1. I got a split, actually, but Tim Everson's going to help out, come in for hour number 2. And believe me, I think Cole has some hot takes about the Kansas City Chiefs because they got a rough start just like the Cats do. 1-score games.
Very similar starts to the season, honestly.
Well, but more likely to turn it around than K-State.
We'll find out.
All right. I'll be listening. All right, we got to wrap up hour number 1. Hour 2 coming up next. Stick around. The Game on KMAN.
Game on. Tweet the game, KMAN. Or call 537-1350 and get in touch with the show. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Take the stress out of getting a mortgage. The local mortgage team at K-State Credit Union guides you from pre-approval to choosing the perfect loan and completing the application, ultimately getting you into your home on time and stress-free. When it's time to choose a lender for your home, go with the local mortgage leader who puts members first. That's K-State Credit Union. Visit kstatecu.com today to visit with their lenders. K-State Credit Union, equal housing lender insured by NCUA.
Your commercial facility is one of your biggest investments, and keeping it in top shape is critical. At Icon Structures, we know repairs and remodels can feel overwhelming, but we make it simple. No project is too big or too small. From minor fixes to expansions or brand new builds, our expert team delivers quality work at a fair price, starting with a free estimate. What does your facility need today? Icon Structures is here to build it or fix it and keep it strong for years to come. Call 785-587-8523 extension 100 or visit icon-structures.com today and let us help you. Icon Structures, we bring your building needs to life.
American Family Insurance.
At American Family Insurance, your small business is a big deal to us. You face challenges and you work hard to achieve your goals. As your American Family agent and business owner right here in your community, I've faced that too. I've built my business with the vision of helping you protect yours. Contact us today to see how we can protect what you've worked so hard to build with customized coverage that fits your needs. This is Rob Wild, agent at Wild & Associates, LLC.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Stop. Look no further than Buck Roofing. For nearly 20 years, Buck has specialized in top quality roofing, installation, and repairs for residential and commercial properties. Call for a free, no obligation estimate. 785-230-9379.
Manhattan's first for news, sports, weather, and talk. Since 1950, this is News Radio, KMAN, Manhattan.
CBS News Brief. The Fed is cutting a key interest rate. Chair Jerome Powell.
Today, the Federal Open Market Committee decided to lower our policy interest rate by a 0.25 percentage point.
The Fed also projected it would make 2 more cuts this year as concern grows about the labor market. Former CDC Director Susan Menares was before lawmakers today.
I was fired for holding the line on scientific integrity, but that line does not disappear with me. It now runs through every parent deciding whether to vaccinate a child, every physician counseling a patient, and every American who demands accountability.
She told senators deadly diseases like polio are poised to make a comeback. FBI Director Kash Patel was questioned again about the Epstein files. He says he can't release more because of court orders.
We're talking about the evidence you've got. It's got nothing to do with what those courts have.
Do you have any idea how the law works? On Wall Street today, stocks finished mixed after the Fed's decision on interest rates. CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
Now, the latest news from the News Radio, KMAN, and Manhattan Mercury Newsroom.
City officials approved the 2026 budget, and local businesses recognized for their achievements. These stories and more in your 5 p.m. news update. I'm Louis Marion. The jury in a trial charging Josh Sandoval Serrano with rape heard closing arguments Wednesday morning in Raleigh County District Court. The 23-year-old is accused of committing 1 count of rape and 2 counts of aggravated sexual battery against a 23-year-old woman 2 years ago. Prosecutors said the woman had passed out on a couch at a friend's apartment after a night of heavy drinking when the alleged crime occurred. Sandoval Serrano has maintained his innocence. Judge Grant Bannister has presided over the trial, which was scheduled to wrap up Thursday. Jurors began deliberations Wednesday afternoon. Manhattan City Commissioners approved the 2026 budget after Tuesday meeting. The budget includes a $1.35 mill levy increase, adding nearly $2.5 million in new taxes compared to last year. It also includes small utility rate increases and a 2.4% cost of living raise for city employees. City officials sat through nearly an hour of feedback from residents, many citing concerns with rising property taxes, inflation, and a need for fiscal restraint. Resident Roger Seymour.
We are forcing people out of the community they want to live in. We've got to have a change.
Resident Amy Dodd pointed to Mayor Karen McCullough's July 8th remarks about prioritizing social services when the mayor said only, quote, 6 cents on the dollar, unquote, went to such programs.
People are hurting. I don't see talks about bringing down, what are you going to do? How can we cut the budget? How can we get back to something that's more sensible?
Mayor McCullough defended the plan.
It's expensive to run a city, and I think we're trying to do it as economically as we can. Now, if we want to cut services, if we want to not have as many people working here so that when you come in for a planning session or something like that, you have to wait a month, we can go there, but I quite frankly think the public will be very upset.
The budget was approved on a 4-1 vote with Commissioner John Mata opposed. The Raleigh County Jail is facing an overcrowding problem, according to RCPD Major Mark French. Speaking at Monday's Law Board meeting, he said the jail isn't holding minor or misdemeanor offenders, yet the population remains high, with no clear reason why. He cited higher bond amounts and a rise in serious crimes committed by transient individuals as possible factors. French noted that 80% of inmates are awaiting trial. County Attorney Barry Wilkerson added that post-COVID staffing shortages and trial delays are also keeping people behind bars longer. French will give a full update in October. The Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce recognized 6 local businesses Tuesday during the 2025 Business Awards. Bayer Construction took home the Cornerstone Award, which is the Chamber's equivalent to a Lifetime Achievement Award. Adair Law was awarded Business of the Year, while New Boston Creative Group took home the Small Business of the Year award. Other award winners included Switch Wicked in the Women Minority-Owned Business category, Flint Hills Ventures in the Entrepreneurial Spirit category, and the Museum of Art and Light for tourism development. St. George plans to build a new water treatment plant with rising water shortages. Mayor Debbie Worth says water is the biggest challenge, as well as trying to keep taxes low for residents.
Coming up is because of what's happening with our water, I think KDHE would like us to put in a water treatment plant.
Yeah.
Water treatment plants are not inexpensive. And so we are spending a lot of time trying to figure out if we have other alternatives.
Worth says the city is considering hiring a firm to compare costs of building a treatment plant versus entering an agreement to buy water from a neighboring community. And finally tonight, a road update. Drivers can expect major traffic changes on Anderson Avenue starting Monday as the next phase of a 2-year road construction project gets underway. The work zone is expanding east from Connecticut Avenue to Elling and Oakdale Drives. 2 lanes will be closed at all times, with traffic shifting through the corridor. That phase is expected to last at least 4.5 months through early February. Access to Bellhaven, Elling, Midland, and Oakdale will be affected, though city officials clarify that Bellhaven Road or Timberlane Drive will always remain open to ensure neighborhood access. The official detour will route drivers north on Sunset Avenue to Claflin and Sethchild Road. More details can be found at andersonwaterstorm.com. For more local news, go to newsradiokman.com or themercury.com. I'm Louis Marion. Your weather forecast in Hour 2 of the game is next.
K-Man News brought to you by L&L Advisors. Local, genuine, and here for you.
News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, mostly sunny skies, 81 degrees, wind out of the southwest at around 9 miles per hour. 50% chance of showers, also thunderstorms possible mainly after 11 p.m. tonight with an overnight low of 64. 60% chance of rain on Thursday throughout the afternoon, mostly cloudy with a high near 75. 30% chance of precipitation Thursday night before 4 in the morning. Sunny and a high near 79 on Friday.
Weather on News Radio KMAN is brought to you by Sunset Zoo. Memberships are a fun way to experience the zoo. Pick up your membership and enjoy the Sunset Zoo all year long.
Hour 2 of the game after work. Cole Dutchendorf alongside Tim Everson. Tim, I don't know if you're just listening to us talking to Mitch there in that last segment. We talked about what Mitch did for his 30th birthday. It's Patrick Mahomes' 30th birthday, which, man, that scares me a little bit. I mean, what in the world? I feel like time's going by too fast with his career.
Yes.
And I was going to do what did you do to celebrate your 30th birthday for Ask Us Anything? And then it occurred to me, I have no idea how old you are.
I am 31, so
okay,
I have
so it's
had
pretty
a
fresh.
30th birthday.
It's pretty
It
fresh
was not
on
that
the
long
brain.
ago.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel a little bit better that I'm not completely out of bounds. You know, I was all up in my own head over here on the other side of the glass, super concerned about embarrassing myself on Ask Us Anything. So I just figured I'd get it out of the way at the beginning of the second hour. So what did you do for your 30th birthday?
I don't think I did anything too crazy. I think I just got maybe some friends and family together, and we just kind of hung out.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, once you get
just kind of low key,
you know, you went crazy. You know, at 21 or whatever, you have a couple of those, and then it is really true.
And you're an adult.
At a certain point, yeah, it's just like.
It's just another day.
It is
really.
another. It's a slightly special day. It was nice to spend it with people that I care about.
For sure. Get some nice food in the system.
Get some good food.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, nothing too crazy.
If you want to hear that conversation with the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, you can find us on YouTube. We're streaming live right now. Subscribe, throw us a like so we can continue paying Mitch to come onto the show. Just kidding. I'm pretty sure it's pro bono. I believe we don't pay him out of pocket for him to come onto the show. And also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts for the game. Again, if you're just now joining us, Talked to Drew Galloway from K-State Online as well as Mitch Holthus in that first hour. And, on the topic of the Chiefs, I think there are some pertinent things that we could discuss about Kansas City and the way that they have started the 2025 season. I kind of been workshopping this for like the past 2 weeks in my head, that K-State and Kansas City have kind of had pretty similar starts to the season. When you start to generalize things a little bit, a trip abroad in your first week of the season, high expectations coming into the season. There's been different points where week 1 for the Chiefs, defense was really bad. Week 2 for the Chiefs, offense was really bad. It's the same thing for K-State so far. They've had a couple of games with really bad defense where you point to Army or North Dakota is the one that sticks out more than anything, even though they ended up winning that one. And they've had games with really bad offense. We're looking at the Arizona game from this last Friday. Same thing with the Chiefs. I mean, there's a lot of parallels with these two teams. Both teams a little bit banged up. I mean, it's probably more depth for K-State as opposed to the high-end talent for the Chiefs, especially in the wide receiver room. I mean, how sorely missed have Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice been through the first 2 games of the year? I mean, Xavier got 3. You look at an explosive playmaker who gets injured on the first couple of plays of the season. Dylan Edwards on the punt return, Xavier Worthy on the crossing route on the 3rd play from scrimmage for the Chiefs. So there's just a lot of things that kind of they're aligning right now. And all that said, I am in a completely different spot with my fandom for K-State versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And part of that is because the Chiefs have been the best team in the NFL over the last 7 years. I mean, it's been one of the best runs of any team ever in history. The first team, I believe, to make 5 Super Bowls in 6 years in NFL history. Winning 2, becoming the first team in 20-plus years to win back-to-back Super Bowls. The first team to win back-to-back Super Bowls and make it to a 3rd. Trying to become just the 2nd team ever to make it to 4 consecutive Super Bowls. So they've given you a little bit of wiggle room. Whereas K-State, I think, mainly looking back to the end of last year, I mean, that was a 7-1 team at one point that just, for whatever reason, kind of self-combusted in November and really kind of limped to the finish line. So I'm not worried about the Chiefs, and there's a few reasons why. I already mentioned one. With the offense specifically, you're missing Rashee Rice, you're missing Xavier Worthy, and Rashee even more so than Xavier Worthy. You go back and watch those first couple of games of the year last year, he was true wide receiver 1, workload, production. He looked really, really good. And that was kind of the case at the end of his rookie season where he had, I believe, the 2nd most receiving yards for a rookie in a playoff run or something along those lines. Just had a really good playoff showing. He had a great game against the Dolphins that season and continued it against Buffalo, the Ravens, and then finally in the Super Bowl against the 49ers where he had an extremely clutch performance, a couple of first down pickups in the 4th and in overtime. He's missed a lot in this offense, and so much of this offense is really built around a guy who's that dynamic in the yak department where he can take a wide receiver screen and bust it for 20 yards. He can take a drag over the middle of the field and take it for 30 yards. He has that kind of big play ability. And then also you throw Xavier Worthy in there, who kind of took that Rashee Rice role last year, especially near the end of the season. Definitely in the postseason. I mean, he had I believe it was the most receiving yards by a rookie in a Super Bowl ever. Granted, a lot of that came in garbage time, but he was still cooking dudes on that Eagles defense really throughout the game. Just Mahomes didn't have any time to find him, and then he goes down. The good news is he should be back against the Giants. He was a full participant at practice, which, given what that collision looked like and kind of the weird silence over the first couple of days after the Brazil trip, you didn't have a great feeling about it. It was kind of reminiscent of the Rashee injury last year where it was like, yeah, well, it's better than we think. Okay, well, what does that really mean? Like, okay, he didn't tear his ACL, but what is the extent of the injury? Obviously not as severe for Xavier Worthy, but it could have been a season-ending shoulder surgery, and I'm sure he's going to get that operated on at some point. But his involvement back into the offense, whatever that may look like, I think it's going to be desperately needed because this is a wide receiver core, really a tight end room. Just no one can get open. You look back to this Eagles game specifically, there are just very few people who are winning their routes, and really one of the only ones who is a 35-year-old tight end. So that you don't want the entire burden of this offense to be on the shoulders of a guy who's played 10,000 plus snaps over a 10-year career. So I think Xavier Worthy coming back is going to be huge. Rashee Rice eventually coming back is going to be huge. And there's more reasons I'm not panicking at all on this Chiefs team. But Tim, I'll let you get some of your thoughts in, and I'll collect myself and continue going on because I'm really not that worried overall.
Well, I mean, I start with just who they've lost to.
Also true.
You have kind of a good Chargers team with a lot of talent, a lot of upside in a fluky, overseas, I guess, over border, I guess, game.
Yes, a flight, a long flight taken.
Long flight. So, I mean, whatever. You kind of throw that out. They didn't play very well. They didn't look very good, but still, one-score game. And then the defending Super Bowl champions who return almost everyone and are still very, very good, and people expect to be very good. I looked into a couple things, and I had forgotten this number. 17 wins in one-score games coming into that's how many.
It was consecutively, right?
Consecutive.
Which is insane.
Record
of all
wins.
time.
Yeah.
Best ever.
That's not going to hold up forever.
Right.
So especially with what you said, the injuries that have kind of hamstrung this offense, I'm just not. I'm not ready to hit the panic button. I'm nowhere near where I am with K-State, where the sky is starting to fall, and feel like I'm slowly going insane. They'll figure it out, I think. I mean, as long as you have Patrick Mahomes in his prime still, he's gonna figure it out.
Which, by the way, he has looked really good this season. There have been a couple of misses. The one to Tyquan obviously sticks out. That was one of the worst misses from a quarterback at any level, really, that you'll ever see. But overall, I mean, he was full, Super Bowl against the Buccaneers level against the Chargers in week 1. I mean, the throw that he made parallel to the ground, flipping it over a couple of Chargers into the hands of Juju Smith-Schuster. The play where Khalil Mack obliterated Kingsley Suamataia, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well. Rolls out to his right on a dead sprint and chucks it, 48 air yards down the field into the awaiting hands of Hollywood Brown. I mean, these are some vintage which it feels wrong to say vintage at this point. I mean, he's, again, crazy that he is 30 years old going into year 9 or whatever it is. But some vintage Patrick Mahomes moments. And even in the game against the Eagles, when the offense was really struggling, at different points it was the line breaking down, at different points players just aren't getting open. You go back to the first touchdown of the game for the Chiefs where, again, you got 5 people running routes and not a single soul on the field is open. He buys time, rolls to his right, and then goes on the dead sprint, gets into the end zone. He trucked another guy 2 times in 2 weeks where he's putting his body on the line to pick up some first downs. He's really good. And as you said, as long as Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, you can feel pretty confident about this team's level. As Mitch mentioned, there have been worse moments for this Chiefs team in the Patrick Mahomes era, even though this is the worst start that they've gotten out to. In fact, it's their first 0-2 start since, I believe, 2014. And if they lose to the Giants, it'd be their first 0-3 start since 2011. I'm not really worried a ton about the Giants, although they have some talent that can concern you, specifically on the defensive line, one of the best in the league, and also just some weapons on offense that scare you a little bit, especially if Russell Wilson plays like he did last week, where it's Unk Ball throwing 50-yard shots down the field to Malik Neighbors every other play. You'll live with that if you're a Giants fan, to be honest, and knowing the Chiefs, they're going to be sweating it out anyways. But I do think the next couple of weeks are pretty important, just so that you're not getting yourselves in so deep of a hole. I mean, I honestly think that to a certain degree, if they went 0-6, I still wouldn't believe that they wouldn't make the playoffs. I would say, okay, they're going to be able to figure it out. Rasheed's back after this week, whatever. Obviously, you would love to win some games, and you'd be really okay if they go 3-3. Because you look at their upcoming schedule, the Giants are probably the softest team in the early portion of the season. And again, they still have a lot of talent. You look at top-end talent, the top 5 on a roster, honestly, they can probably compete with a lot of teams around the league. They got some really good players on that team, but you feel pretty confident about your ability to take them down, even though it's in New York. Then it's going to be a tough game against the Ravens at home. Yeah. That one, for sure, will be a difficult game. Then it's at the Jags, who it's been a little bit of a mixed bag for them. They're probably the second worst team on this early stretch, but they still have a lot of talent as well. You mentioned, Trevor Lawrence, a lot of offensive weapons. Defense didn't look great against Jake Browning, but also Jake Browning's quietly been a really good backup quarterback for in the wake of Joe Burrow compared to other things that teams have provided. And then you wrap that up with the Lions. I don't know if that's a home game or away, but Lions looked really bad in week 1 and then really good in week 2, and I wonder how much of them looking bad in week 1 was because they were playing what's probably been the best team in football through 2 weeks in the Packers with Micah Parsons and that offense. So, as you said, I'm not worried. There have been some worrisome things. The one that's been by far what I've noticed the most is this defensive line is not good. The problem with this is, unlike the wide receiver room in the offense, there is no, let's put a Band-Aid on it because things will get better because we're going to get such and such back from injury. This is just not a good defensive line. It is Chris Jones and friends again. Granted, it was against a really good offensive line in the Eagles. When it was rushing 4, when it was rushing 3, the pass rush was non-existent. Jalen Hurts has 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. He is sitting and dancing in that pocket. There is just no pressure to be heard of. And when Chris Jones is double-teamed, there's not a lot that anyone else can do. Not to mention Mike Dana got banged up a little bit. I don't think he practiced today. Your guy that you're paying however much, $20 million a year, George Karlaftis has got to be better.
Got to be better.
He has not been good through the first 2 weeks of this season. The whole incident with, I don't know how closely you followed it, with Mike Pennell and his release, and you trade back for Derek Nottie. They've actually been pretty solid against the run game, against 2 really good run teams, and that was what Mike Pennell brought the most of. But Derek Nottie hasn't been amazing early in this season. Charles Omenihu has been really disappointing, really ever since he came back for those 6 games or whatever in 2023, had the strip sack of Lamar in the AFC Championship game. He hasn't been back to that form. He was not great last year, and he has not been very good this year. He's actually been terrible this year so far. And again, you're not getting an infusion of talent like you are with the wide receiver room, and that's concerning for me.
So what you're telling me is Felix Anudike-Uzomah was the only thing that was holding this Chiefs
line
together.
Using the context clues, it really might have been FAU. He goes to the IR, and all of a sudden they can't find themselves any kind of pressure. So that has been concerning. But to a certain point, that defense that looked rough in week 1, and it was very un-Spags things. It was miscommunication. They looked slow. They looked a step behind everything that the Chargers wanted to do offensively. They had a really, really good game. They did more than enough to give the Chiefs a win. And really, you take away 1 drop from one of the greatest players to line up at the tight end spot of all time. You take away that 1 drop. I think the Chiefs are going to find a way to win that game. The Eagles didn't score a touchdown. That wasn't a short field the entire day. I think 3 of their score. They didn't have a drive of more than 48 yards on the day. So this was a Chiefs defense that put together a really solid performance against, on paper, one of the more talented offenses in the NFL. You look at probably the best offensive line, probably one of the best receiving cores in A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. You look at the best running back, or top 2 alongside Derrick Henry and Saquon. Granted, tight end room, I believe Dallas Goedert was banged up, didn't play on that one, so that was definitely a key. But overall, this Chiefs defense looked much better, heads and tails better against the Eagles. I do wonder how much of it is sustainable because they zero blitzed like 15 times, it felt like, in that game. They just blitzed the crap out of Jalen Hurts and were forcing him to have high processing speed, which to his point, he made just enough plays. The one play that sticks in my mind is after the interception, which, by the way, shout out to Josh Simmons. What a beast. Mm-hmm. PFF said he had 0 hurries. There were maybe a pressure or 2 that he gave up, but he's been terrific early in his young career, and also tracking down the Eagles defensive back, Makuba, or however you say his name. on a dead sprint. That was an insanely impressive play, and it almost saved 7 from the board until that 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7, whatever it was. Another Chiefs all-out blitz, and then Jalen Hurts just says a prayer, throws it up to Devontae. Terrible throw, and the one lack that Trent McDuffie has, because outside of it, he's pretty much the perfect cornerback, is he can have some ball awareness problems at times. He's not great at playing the ball, and that kind of bit him there. They got a first down, had a 1st and goal. That touchdown at that point kind of ended the game in my mind. Like, there was still a chance they came back, and if they would have gotten a stop after scoring that touchdown, there was still time left. But it was a Chiefs defense that played really well overall. And if they can put that together with the Chiefs offense, which quietly played decent in the second half of the Chargers game, they had 3 drives and 1 touchdown, field goal, and it really probably should have been a touchdown if it wouldn't have been a miscommunication between Travis and Patrick Mahomes on the goal line. So I'm not worried. If you're just joining us right now, long story short, too long, didn't read, I'm not worried about the Chiefs. They're going to get it figured out. This defense looked way better last week than they did against the Chargers. This offense will get that infusion of talent that defensive line so desperately needs. And they're going to be in the playoffs, and I'll tell you what, the 1 seed might be out of the picture right now. I mean, it's going to be tough to come back from 0-2, given some of the teams that you still have on this schedule. There's not a lot of room for error. No one is going to want to face this Kansas City Chiefs team in the playoffs. No one. Nope. I mean, we saw what happened when they're not the 1 seed. It didn't really matter. They went to Buffalo, they beat Buffalo. They went to Baltimore, they beat Baltimore. So this is a team that they're going to get things together. They have the leaders in position. Whereas you look at K-State, you're kind of questioning, like, who do they have to be those vocal leaders? You know who are the top dogs in this Chiefs locker room. They're going to get it figured out, and this Chiefs team will be in the playoffs come 2026. On the when you're flipping the calendars over, they will be competing maybe in another AFC Championship game, maybe in the Super Bowl. We'll find out the extent of that, but they will be in the playoffs. Don't worry, Chiefs fans. Hold the phone. They will be fine.
I agree. It's easy to panic, but I just think you got to look at the body of work. You got to
context is important with the Chiefs.
It is. It really, really is.
Well, we're going to stick in Kansas City for the next segment. This one a little bit more sad because the real season has essentially come to a close. They've still got a few games left to play, but their loss to the Mariners essentially closed the book on what has been a really fun 2025 season overall. We'll break that down next. Also, Salvador Perez, get him into the Hall of Fame. Obviously not right now, he's still playing, but I'll give you my case after the break.
Miss part of the show?
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Really? Check it out on demand at 1350kman.com. You're listening to The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Manhattan Broadcasting is keeping it local. Dollars spent locally today help build a better community for tomorrow.
D&I Plumbing, Heating, and Air will provide honest and quality service when you need it most. From a leaky faucet to replacing your water heater. Trust the experts at D&I Plumbing, Heating, and Air, your York and other makes and models local dealer. Call 537-7138 today.
Turn your memories into a masterpiece at Candlewood Frame Shop. Whether it's framing your favorite pictures floating around in the digital cloud or creating a shadow box with cherished things or memorable events. Candlewood Frame Shop. Let them turn your stories into a masterpiece.
For a once-in-a-lifetime experience, engagement ring shopping simply can't be duplicated on a computer screen. At Fifely Jewelers, you'll be pleasantly surprised by our pricing compared to buying online, and we offer financing. Plus, you'll have peace of mind by shopping locally with Fifely Jewelers.
Manhattan Broadcasting is keeping it local. Find more great local businesses plus special deals and offers when you keep it local on our website.
Cancer isn't one size fits all, and connection shouldn't be either. Meadowlark's Cancer Program is here for you, offering free resources and community for adults of any age in the Flint Hills region. Join us for the first ever Her Cancer Collective on Thursday, October 9th at 5:30 p.m. at Sunset Zoo. It's a welcoming group for women at any stage of the cancer experience. Come as you are, no registration needed. Find others who get it. Find community. Details at meadowlark.org.
Why drive hours to catch a flight? Manhattan Regional Airport brings the world closer, right from your backyard. Enjoy the convenience of flying local, with daily service to Chicago and Dallas, making global connections easier than ever. Fast, friendly, stress-free. Soar from Manhattan, Kansas, and get closer to where you want to be. Fly smart. Fly local. Fly MHK.
Standing at the edge of a rocky shore, you breathe in the cool, salty air, watching the sun disappear on the horizon. Across the globe, someone begins their day along a sandy beach, listening to the rhythm of the crashing waves. You each envision a world beneath the water, vibrant life in every imaginable form. Now, imagine it's all gone. What was once a place of wonder and beauty is now a dull, lifeless wasteland. Food, jobs, medicine, all gifts from the ocean, all gone. Time is running out to protect our oceans, and without our love, everything the oceans provide can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our oceans. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
NHL star Matt Martin for American Humane.
I've had my fair share of bruises and injuries. But for many who put their lives on the line every day, it's not always the injuries you can see that hurt the most. Every single day, 184 veterans are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. When medications and therapy don't help, professionally trained service dogs can. American Humane has created a free guide to help veterans obtain these life-saving animals. For help, please go to AmericanHumane.org.
If you've missed the Kim Komando Show, you've missed a lot.
I want to know how to change series name and voice.
You have to open up the Shortcuts app, select text, type "What can I do for you?" then the plus sign, then run a shortcut.
You got that, Ellen? Thanks for calling. I'm sure you're going to be able to do it in the next 5 minutes.
America's digital goddess.
Kim Komando. Kim Komando. Saturday mornings at 9 on News Radio, KMAN.
I'm Cole Dutchendorf with a Game Sports Update brought to you by Bottle Cap Sports Bar. Speedy Chiefs receiver Xavier Worthy, recovering from a dislocated right shoulder, took another positive step Wednesday toward returning for Sunday night's game against the New York Giants, according to ESPN's Nate Taylor. Worthy, who suffered the injury in the season opener, participated in Wednesday's practice without any restrictions, Coach Andy Reid said. Unlike last week, Worthy was seen running routes during the open portion of practice without extra padding on his right arm. Rookie wide receiver Jalen Royals, who the Chiefs selected in the 4th round of the 2025 draft, also participated in Wednesday's practice, the first time he has done so since the regular season began. Colorado will turn back to Caden Salter as their starting quarterback this week against Wyoming, a source confirmed to ESPN. Salter started the first 2 games, but the team switched to Ryan Staub for the 36-20 loss to Houston on Friday. Staub was 19 of 35 for 204 yards with a touchdown and 2 picks and couldn't get much going in the second half as Colorado managed just 6 points after halftime. Cal Raleigh hit a pair of homers to match the Seattle season record set by Ken Griffey Jr., and the Seattle Mariners clubbed the Royals 12-5 on Tuesday night for their 10th consecutive win. Game 2 of the series is tonight, with first pitch at 6:40, pregame at 6. And it's on that note that we will begin this segment talking about the Royals. And technically, they're not mathematically eliminated at this point, but for all intents and purposes, the season is over. I believe it's 7.5 games back? 11 games to play. So they would need, this would be one of the most improbable playoff appearances in the history of Major League Baseball. They would win all 11 games
perfect
and then
need see some utter collapses ahead of them.
It would be some Big 12 conference tiebreakers that they would need to fall their way if they somehow. Again, it's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen. No. But it has been a really fun season, so I figured we kind of just spend a segment talking about what the season has been, and also, I think this is a Royals team that is legitimately set up for the future. I think there was a true sense of direction shown by the construction of this team, by some of the players called up, see Carter Jensen, see Jack Caglione at different parts of the season, see players acquired at the deadline, like a Mike Yastrzemski, a couple of the trades made to acquire some pitchers. Freddie Fermin, unfortunately, departing, but that was a really good trade for the Royals in the long run. So it's a front office that seems to have a pretty clear vision of what the next couple of years could look like. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm guaranteeing that this Royals team will be in pennant contention just like they were back in 2014 with that young nucleus and a great pitching staff. I'm not saying that. I don't want to be that extreme. That was, especially for small market Major League Baseball teams, that was kind of lightning in a bottle. You had a very specific set of circumstances that allowed the Royals to kind of build their farm system, hit on several guys, make a couple of trades, and then use that momentum to get to a World Series and then eventually to win the next year. I'm not saying that's going to happen because that's pretty rare for these small market Major League Baseball teams. But I love the sense of direction that this franchise has right now. There's a lot of decidedness in the front office. It's a team that, you make a couple of off-season acquisitions, things to get really interesting.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Obviously disappointing that, they kind of flirted around with sneaking into the wild card or whatever, and they didn't get it done. But I've always said, I've lived through, let's see, I'm 31, so this is the 31st Royals season that I've been alive for. And maybe 5, maybe 6 of those have been, interesting at this point in the year. So, it's, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but I am fine, disappointed, but fine, not making the playoffs. If it at least seems like there's some effort being made, if you're in the conversation, and if it seems like you have a clear path forward, which just seems like it does. You have your star, you have some very interesting role player guys around them that are all young, and you have some pitching stuff that I like. I think they could probably get more pitching there. Yeah, and I mean, look, sky's the limit. I was just looking at the wild card picture now, and they're of the top, I don't know, 6, 7 teams in the American League. They're the only one that has a negative run differential right now.
It shows you how stinking bad the offense was for such a large portion of this season.
They're just slightly better. They're great. They're a great team. If they're slightly better on offense this past season, and that can definitely happen if you get the right guys in there and do the right things in the offseason. So I'm encouraged. I'm excited for the future. Sad that they couldn't get it done this year, but you know what? It is what it is. It's all in front of them, which is great.
What I've continued to see on social media is, thank you, Royals. You got us the football season. You did your job. Yeah. You were competitive for long enough. There were a couple of really fun moments this season. You go back to this team winning 16 of 18 in the beginning of the year. Even this late stretch where the vibes were just a lot higher directly after the All-Star break. They won 4 series in a row, including one over the Blue Jays, who I think currently have the 1 seed in the AL. So there was a lot of fun moments. The stretch of Mike Yastrzemski just becoming Barry Bonds for a couple of games. There was a couple of Vinny Pasquantino stretches, Salvi, and we're going to get to him a little bit later, but putting a stamp on becoming a top 2 Royal of all time, and I certainly think you can make an argument that he is the best Royal of all time. It's him and George Brett. It's 1A, 1B. I think they're right in that same conversation. Obviously, George Brett precedes me a little bit, and he meant so much to the Royals as well. But it's really tough to deny a lot of the things that Salvi has done this season, even when it's been he's not hitting the best, and he's going through a couple of really cold stretches, and then he always brings you back in. He reels you back in. He hits a couple of homers in a game, and he makes everything right. So it's a nucleus that there's a lot to build there. And what for the next 11 games, I think it's you start Jack, you start Carter, you get the young guys as much game experience as you can, because really that's the only thing that they need at this point from this roster for the rest of the year is to get more ABs, to get more, for Carter to get more experience behind the plate at the big or at the major league level. For Jack, put him at first base, put him at wherever he's going to be, insert him into the lineup, and just get the young guys as many plate appearances, as many fielding opportunities as they can possibly get over the next 11 games, because I think that's the only thing that they need. I mean, you saw Jack dominated in AAA. Carter did really well as well, maybe not to the extent that Jack did, but still had a really good minor league season. I mean, there was a stretch where he hit like 5 home runs in 6 games or something dumb like that. So these are 2 guys who can hit the heck out of the ball. You get them, major league ready, and then you move forward to next season. This is a team that has a lot of control over the pitching on this roster. There are 6 to 8 guys who you can probably be pretty comfortable with in the starting rotation. I mean, it's that deep. You got young guys like Noah Cameron. You got some of the old guys, Seth Lugo, who just got that contract extension this season. Cole Reagans was hit with a little bit of the injury bug this season, which part of that is last season the Royals just got so lucky with no injuries. Similar to the one-possession games of the Chiefs, it was bound to catch up with you at some point. You were going to take some dings and send some people to the IR, and they've had their fair share of that. I wonder, if you have Cole Reagans for a lot more than you did, if Seth Lugo doesn't get into his own head or whatever happened with that whole situation, I wonder if this does become closer at the end of the season and you win some of those games that you lost, especially in June. I mean, June was just downright dreadful, 8-18, and they did not look like a competitive baseball team for a lot of that month. But it's, as you said, there's a sense of direction. You pick up a couple of pieces in the offseason, you get an outfield bat, you beef up the rotation in the bullpen, and it's a team that I think can make some legitimate noise. I kind of felt this way coming into the season, and I think I'm only going to feel more of that as we head into the 2026 season. Now, turn my eyes to Salvi. Put Salvi in the Hall of Fame. He's not gonna retire after this season. He'll probably get I saw some people hypothesizing it'll be like a 2-year contract extension or something of that measure. He will retire a Royal. And if he doesn't, it's a travesty. This is a lot of this I got from David Lesky from Substack Inside the Crown. This is all Royals history. So for sure, I mean, this is not like a surprise me saying this. He will be in the Royals Hall of Fame. His jersey will be retired. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is one of the greatest Royals of all time in a very short list of the best Royals of all time.
A statue guy for sure.
Oh, yes, 100%. So some of those stats for you. Second player in franchise history to hit 300 or more home runs with the Royals. He's only 16 behind George Brett, so he will end up as the most ever if he stays healthy, basically, over the next couple of years. He's the 3rd Royal to drive in 1,000 runs with the franchise, just 7 behind Hal McRae for second most all time, so he will pass that number. He could pass that number this season. 7th in Royals history in games played. He's 6th in at-bats. He'll most likely end up top 3 in that category. 5th in total bases. He'll most likely be top 2 when he retires. 6th in doubles, could get up as high as 4th. He's 3rd in extra base hits, probably gets to 2nd next year. Oh, one of 2 Royals to win a World Series MVP. I mean, that's all you need to say about Salvador Perez and his legacy in Kansas City. He has seen the highs of the Royals. He has seen the lows of the Royals. He's been through it all. He's been with so many different iterations of this team. One of the greatest Royals of all time, no doubt about it. Then you turn to Cooperstown, and things are interesting. I think, honestly, it'll be kind of a toss-up. He has, I believe it's 10 years to get on to, or to be voted in by the peers that vote the Major League Baseball players into the Hall of Fame. He's the 8th primary catcher ever to hit 300 home runs. He's probably going to finish at least in the top 5 all time. He only needs 324 to get there. That's just 23 more. So if he has any sort of the same pace that he had these last couple of seasons, he will be comfortably over that mark. He's 16th in RBIs among catchers all time. He probably will finish around the top 10. If he repeats 80 RBIs both next year and the year after that, that would put him at 10th. There are some pitfalls for Salvi, and there's no doubt about it. I mean, you look at on-base percentage, it's not very good in terms of the Hall of Fame standard. He'd actually be the second last out of 160 players in the Hall of Fame with at least 6,500 plate appearances. It's just a tick over 300 because I mean, you've seen, how many Salvi appearances have you seen where it's swinging strike, swinging strike, swinging strike at a curveball in the dirt? Like that, that's going to happen. And he's not the most walk-prone guy ever. And also his WAR isn't extremely high. If you're a big wins above replacement guy, that's probably more of a reflection on WAR than it is on Salvi, and that WAR can be a bit finicky at times because I don't think that tells the full story of who Salvi is as a player. But also, I think part of why I think he'll get into Cooperstown eventually and the Major League Hall of Fame is just kind of the impact that he had. And when you think baseball, you think of a guy like Salvi, like a guy chewing on bubblegum in the dugout. Salvi splashes have been around for so long, like just the good vibes, just so thankful to be living a childhood dream, to be on the diamond, to have that childlike joy to get to go out there and put his body through a beating behind the plate day in, day out. I think he just is one of the best things of what baseball is and what baseball represents. So I think he'll get in, and man, I sure hope he gets into the Hall of Fame one day.
I hope so too. I mean, just, you know, a guy that has represented Kansas City now for what, at least 10 years.
And it's like going back to 2010 or whatever. When
2011.
I was
actually looking at his MLB debut, which was 2011 versus the Tampa Bay Rays. This is a Tampa Bay Rays team that featured Johnny Damon, Evan Longoria, Ben Zobrist, B.J. Upton, and the starting pitcher was Wade Davis.
Some familiar names there.
Yeah. But no, I mean, he's, you know, he's a guy you think about him and it just makes you smile. Has done so many special things for this franchise. It's funny. I have a little cough. One second here.
Yeah, but by all means. I mean, I don't know how Mitch does it, man. We got through that first segment, and I'm like, I got a headache. My voice is scratchy. He's a beast.
When I had never thought about it, but it makes total sense, and you're 100% right. He is. I would still probably put him behind George Brett, but he is of that caliber. He is of that level, and maybe it's just because he's done it quietly. He's done it over time. The Royals have been, you know,
terrible,
bad for more than half of his tenure.
Yes,
but he deserves it 100%.
And again, I go back to he is baseball. Like again, you just think of, you know, you're out there on the diamond. You got the big old kid behind the plate who's just got a smile. He's just happy to be there, and I think that's, again, that childlike joy of just getting to go out and play with your best friends and play a sport for a living. I think he embodies that maybe better than anyone in this modern era of baseball. I'll be banging that drum for Salvi to get into the Hall of Fame, and I sure hope we see him there one day. Well, we'll put a bow on the game next. We got Ask Us Anything after these words.
Your home for K-State sports.
0-1 is hammered towards center field. Does it have enough? At the wall, he does! The all-time home run record is Dylan Phillips.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Whether it's game day or a night out with great live music, Bottle Cap Sports Bar delivers the atmosphere you're looking for. It's Manhattan's go-to spot for catching every Wildcats or Chiefs game and enjoying live music that plays the songs you actually know. Come early for a good seat, great music, and cold drinks served up right. Stay in the loop. Check out their Facebook page for the full schedule of events. Bottle Caps, where the music's live, the game's always on, and the vibe is just right.
Bottle Cap Sports Bar located on West Anderson across from Dairy Queen.
You've heard the expression, it's what's on the inside that counts. At Schultz Construction, they couldn't agree more. Starting with the foundation and everything inside the walls, Schultz Construction is committed to making sure the things you don't see in a house are as good as the finishing touches you do see. From custom homes to commercial buildings, Schultz Construction takes pride in their quality control from start to finish. Schultz Construction, building trusted relationships through the development of quality neighborhoods.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
Oh, those Philadelphia Eagles,
They're fighting back against you naysayers when it comes to the tush push and why you want it to be out, why you want the Eagles to do it. Jordan Mailata, even when on local radio in Philadelphia, is saying it's a bunch of bull, you know what, because people are saying that's the only way that they can win football games is by having the tush push. Well, Jordan, that's not exactly what people are saying. They're not saying that's the only way that you can win a game, that if you don't have the tush push, that you don't stand a chance of winning. But it does make a lot of sense that if you're an Eagles player, an Eagles coach, or an Eagles fan, that it's good to hear them fighting back to say, wait a minute, just because we do this play better than anybody else, that's more of a you problem, and don't make it our problem. Now, my co-host on Freddie and Harry Douglas, said, if you want to eliminate pushing a player in the back behind the offensive line, I think we can all be with that to make that kind of amendment. But getting rid of the tush push, that's a bad idea, and the Eagles are not standing for it anymore. In 60 seconds, Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney has had enough.
New Beyond Raw Lit V2 pre-workout. GNC's #1 pre-workout. Now with harder-hitting energy, an intense mind-body connection, and enhanced endurance support. This isn't just pre-workout, it's precision engineering for your body. Turbocharge your workout with new Beyond Raw Lit V2. Available now at GNC and GNC.com.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
When you get in your feelings and you have a lot of power, whether you're a sports figure, entertainment figure, political figure, if you believe that people don't believe you can do it anymore, you're going to strike back. That brings us to Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney. 1-2 to start the season. A lot of expectation about being a playoff team like they were last year, and here they are now ranked in the top 25, and Dabo Swinney's had enough.
If they want me gone, if they tired of winning, they can send me on their way, because that's all we've done is win.
All we've done is win, according to Dabo Swinney and Clemson. Now, he's not wrong. But I still wonder, where is that coming from? It's not the first time that Dabo Swinney has clapped back at people that have tried to undermine what he's done at Clemson. But it seems that this one, is a lot more personal based on their start 1-2 to the season. Now, Dabo Swinney is right. He's 55 years of age. If they get rid of him at Clemson, he'll go somewhere else and win. I just wonder where that came from. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio's Freddie and Harry.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
If you build a relationship, then it becomes easier. If you build trust, it becomes easier. As a parent, you want what's best for your child. To give them the love that a child needs is probably the best you can do for a teenager.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
News Radio, KMAN, weather.
Right now in the Manhattan area, 81 degrees, mostly sunny skies, wind out of the southwest at 9 miles per hour. 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms mainly after 11 o'clock tonight with an overnight low of 64. Bump that up to 60% on Thursday, mainly in the afternoon with a high near 75 and mostly cloudy skies. 30% chance of rain Thursday night, sunny, and a high near 79 on Friday. Well, Tim, we've done a little bit of birthday talk, and so I want to go to, you're a kid growing up, and it's your birthday. The dessert you're requesting from either your mom or grandma to whip you up for your birthday.
This is tough. I have a go-to. I love a good cookie cake.
Okay. Sure.
Regular cake is great. No problem with regular cake. Something about a cookie cake, I'm a big fan of. But if I had to say wanted to be super special, I would want a really, really good apple pie.
Okay.
With the streusel on top and everything. That's and
the
some
good lattice
vanilla
as well.
ice. Yeah, with some vanilla ice cream. That'd be my. If I could pick anything, I'm picking that. What about you?
My grandma, we'd always have like a birthday dinner for whoever it was, and it would be a fantastic meal. It'd be like burgers, potato salad, and baked beans, and then for dessert, it would always be a peanut butter sheet cake.
Ooh.
And it was just so good. I'm a big peanut butter guy, so that peanut butter sheet cake, like 2 hours after you've eaten because you couldn't possibly eat another bite, get some peanut butter sheet cake in your system, and that's living right. But if I was going like non-family made, I'm a big coconut cream pie fan. So I'll have there's a place in my hometown that makes some pretty good, fresh, nice homemade coconut cream pies, and those are fantastic.
It's pretty good. It's pies underrated. I'll say it.
And I'll say cakes maybe a little bit overrated.
I agree.
I think they're fine. They're just kind of boring.
I welcome the hate mail. Cakes are boring. Come after me.
There's just so many more desserts that offer more than cakes do. Whether it's like a texture thing or flavor thing, it's just cakes can get kind of stale.
It's just so hard for it to I feel like a mediocre pie is always going to be better than a mediocre cake.
That's a good take.
A cake can be delicious, but
there is certainly a ceiling for a cake.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, you get into some desserts, you're talking about the floor is almost higher than the ceiling of a cake. There's only so much that a cake can do for you in the grand scheme of things.
The ceiling is higher than the roof, as
Yes.
Michael Jordan would say.
As Michael Jordan said. That was about the Hornets, right? About his ownership?
I think it was about North Carolina, because I think that was his induction ceremony or whatever. Yeah.
Was he wrong?
I
think he didn't say anything wrong. The ceiling was indeed higher than the roof.
Absolutely.
We'll be back for a full 2 hours tomorrow. I believe we're going to try to have Curry Sexton on again. Mitch in Vegas as well. To wrap up the last live show of the week, we'll have the best of segment on Friday as Mitch heads to Manhattan High for Manhattan versus Hayes. I'll be heading to Rock Creek. Until tomorrow, for Tim, I'm Cole. We'll see you.
At Buck Roofing and Construction, they do more than just roofing and gutters. They also offer a wide range of siding options as well. Whether you are in need of siding, a whole new roof, gutters, or just a repair, Buck Roofing can do it all. Call for a free, no obligation estimate today. 785-2300.